College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.
Last week, if you watched us, we allowed our guy Will Kramer, who's wearing different attire this week. We allowed him to talk about the SEC, who he says is the best conference in all of college football. But this week, we're going to switch up to the other conference that self-proclaimed the best and holder of the last
to prove it.
You're right. Holder of the last two national championships. We will be talking Big Ten. I love the analogy. We will be talking Big Ten. We'll be talking about some sleepers, who are the best of the rest, and then obviously giving our picks to win the division, or win the conference. But first and foremost, before we do that, there has been some news. If you have followed Michigan football over the last several years, obviously they've won a number of games. They won a national championship. Then Harbaugh and a lot of the team leaves. There was a lot of speculation. Some things came out. Connor Stallion's name became synonymous with sign stealing. And there have been some penalties doled out. Obviously, the team kind of did the self-imposed, but the NCAA said, no, we got to lay down the law. So, Alex, I'm going to send it to you. We see what you have and behind you. That's not going to be affected. That was one on the field. Everybody's good with that national championship. However, your team did get hit with some stuff. Talk about what's going on.
Yeah, so they announced it on, I believe it was Friday morning for me, afternoon for most people. Came out with the full penalty. So we had the self-imposed 2-game suspension this year. Odd choice for week 3 and week 4. Makes sense because Sharon Morris, an Oklahoma alum, wants to go against his former team. It's a self-imposed one, so they chose those two. They added on the first game in 2026. He will be suspended for the opener next year, which I'm seeing dueling reports. We're playing Western Michigan. We're technically the home team, but there's reports that we're playing that game in Germany. So there's a good chance our head coach won't be there for our international game to open next year. I'm not sure if it's like the Harbaugh suspension. I think it is, where he can like coach during the week, help game plan and everything. He's just not in the building on Saturdays. I believe that's how it's going. And they haven't named a head coach for those weeks, but I'd imagine it's Biff Poggi, the associate head coach. He was the head coach at Charlotte for a few years. I want to say another place as well. But he has some head coach experience, so I'd imagine he takes over, allows Chip Lindsey and Wink Martindale to focus on the offense and defense respectively. The fines, so it's an initial $50,000 fine, 10% of the football budget for the year, which if you base it off last year was $70 million, so it would be a $7 million fine. 10% of the total cost of the football scholarships for this year, and loss of all postseason revenue this season and next season. So the total number of that fine isn't a definitive number, but it's likely to land somewhere in between $20 and $30 million, which is near unprecedented fines in the history of college football. There were also, we'll get into an explanation on this term here. There's a 3-year show cause penalty for assistant coach Denard Robinson. If you're a gamer, you know him as the cover athlete for NCAA 14. He was involved in the advanced scouting and some of the recruiting violations. So he has a 3-year show cause. He's left the program. He left the program last year. So he's not around for any of this. There's an 8-year show cause for Connor Stallions and a 10-year show cause added on to Jim Harbaugh's now 14-year total show cause because he had the 4 for the recruiting violations during COVID, and the non-compliance during that didn't really help the investigation, kind of tried to stray them away from what it sounds like. So he has a total of 14-year show cause. This is just them saying, both sides saying like, okay, we're done. We're never coming back to this.
Banned for life.
Yeah. It's a lifetime ban for Jim Harbaugh from college football. But yeah, 8 years for Stallions, 3 years for Denard Robinson. Essentially, what this show cause is you're essentially blackballing the guy from college football, because if any team was to hire Denard Robinson, Connor Stallions, or Jim Harbaugh during their show cause, they have to sit down with the NCAA and explain why they shouldn't be penalized for hiring those guys. And it would come with a full season suspension right off the bat from them hiring this guy. Yeah, minimum 1 year suspension.
Wow.
And they have to sit and discuss why they shouldn't get more. Obviously, well, not obviously, I wish they wouldn't, but Michigan is placing in to appeal all these penalties. So they're just dragging it all back out. Now, there's been stuff that came out from their report that shows they didn't necessarily have all the evidence that they should have to pin this on them. I mean, it's clear they stepped over that gray area. They went into the gray area. They overstepped. Yeah. They went. They did it. There's no denying they did it. But at the same time, it looks like they didn't necessarily have all the evidence they need to actually pin it. So they're going to appeal it, try and get it dragged out. And this isn't going away anytime soon, unfortunately. So this will be back in the news again. And now their main thing was for no vacated titles, no postseason bans, anything like that, was they didn't want to punish the players now that weren't a part of that. Mm-hmm. That the coaches and the
coaches are all gone.
Yeah, the coaches, the administration, all that, they're saying they're the ones that screwed up. They're the ones that went overboard. Mm-hmm. The players still had to go out on the field and play the games. Mm-hmm. That's why after we won the national championship, the head of the NCAA came out and said they won it fair and square, because the last 8 games after Stallions was gone, still ran the table 8-0, beat Ohio State, beat Alabama, beat Washington, beat Iowa, who was a very good team late in that season. Mm-hmm. So the players still had to go out and get it done. So I'm glad they didn't take anything away from the players. But the coaches and the school should be penalized for going overboard. Absolutely.
How is this going to hurt Michigan's football program? How is this going to hurt the University of Michigan's athletic department?
It's not going.
How much football supplements?
I mean, you look at this. So we said between $20 and $30 million in fines and all that over the next, essentially, most of that's this year. Loss of playoff revenue next year is the only thing that hurts them next year. To compare it, Kansas, who's a much smaller school, just had a donor give $300 million. We have alum that are in like the top 10 to 15 richest people in the world. This isn't, It's not going to hurt the program as much as they're going to intend it to.
Jolynn Ellison has already stroked a check.
Yeah.
That probably donates $20 million on top of everything they were penalized.
Well, and even someone like Dave Portnoy, who is a total goof, for lack of a better polite word. The moron was essentially just like, yeah, this is a normal person getting fined $5. Like this is nothing. So it looks like this big massive thing. It's unprecedented money, but for the era we're in now, it's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. There it is. You want to say, will this be the end of it? And, could this happen again? Exactly. We know this is still going to be going on. Now,
the one part I forgot to add in was now there's stories and rumors about how it got leaked that Michigan was doing.
That's what I was about to ask. Yeah.
So in the 2023 national champion season, we had a linebacker by the name of Joey Velasquez. Mm-hmm. He then transferred to play last year for Ohio State.
Yeah.
So everyone assumed Ohio State was the one that got the NCAA to look into it, but everyone assumed it was because the private investigator group was friend of Ryan Day or his brother or whatever, that there was that connection there. But supposedly it was the linebacker Velasquez that went in and said, "This is what Michigan's doing. Have fun."
Wow.
So
Enemy of the state in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
He better not step foot in the state of Michigan. They're going.
Probably should have paid him a little bit better, man.
yeah.
I'm saying, money's flowing.
I am glad that the NCAA realized that they're not going to punish the current players. You know, like Bryce Underwood should not be punished for the actions of Jim Harbaugh. You know, that type of stuff. So I do appreciate that recognition of it. But I also, like we've said, like the NCAA can only do so much at this point in the game.
Well, and at the end of the day, they can say we don't want Michigan playing in the postseason, but the CFP is its own entity. If Michigan's one of what would be the 12 best teams, they can essentially still go and be, okay, Michigan, you're in the playoff.
Yeah.
As unfortunate as that is for the NCAA, they don't really have any power over the postseason anymore. Unless you're not a playoff team, then they can still ban you. But we're getting away, and this is, I heard somebody, can't remember who it was that said it, but this was the last real big scandal the NCAA is probably going to get to deal with, because there's that sports commission now that the federal government set up that's probably going to take over this kind of stuff. And with the NIL and all that, they're kind of controlling that stuff from now on. So this is probably the last real big one the NCAA is going to get to deal with.
It's weird. Yeah. There's like this weird dichotomy in my head of, you know, the NCAA is better now, and I actually think the punishment, I mean, I don't think it's much in the grand scheme of things, but I think they got it right as far as who gets punished, and all that good stuff. But then I think back, there's a bitterness inside me because we had 3 players cheat in a class, and we dealt with them, self-reported it, and we had to vacate our entire season. And you guys are doing that on the field. So I like I said, I get it, and I'm happy with what you guys got, but it's kind of just
yeah. Well, it's like
these kids nowadays, they don't have to put up what we used to. Like,
well, I mean, even
frustrating.
Urban Meyer brought it up, and I thought it was a good view, even though it was an Ohio State coach that brought it up. Was his first year he was there, they went undefeated during the regular season, but they were not allowed to play for the national championship. He had to tell the senior guys that were there they don't get to play for the national championship on their way out because of the stuff from the coaches before. So I was like, that the whole not wanting to punish the players that are there makes total sense, but that's not what the precedent has been. So it's interesting to see them do it now. As a Michigan fan, I'm very grateful they're doing it now, but it's typical NCAA as well to just to not have a precedent set. You know, they don't follow what they've done before. They just kind of do like, oh, what are we feeling like doing now?
But 14 years, I mean, that really, it does sends a message to other college coaches. I mean, even though we all knew he wasn't coming back, at least to your point, it does set a precedent for this sort of thing.
I think it sets it for the folks underneath. The Jannard Robinson can't work in the NCAA. I don't know what he's doing right now. You know, Connor Stallions can't come back. So I think that when you're getting those guys where that juice may be worth the squeeze, they may have gotten enough money from the school that it doesn't matter. But that was where it could cause people.
And then at the same time, when they're done these show causes, there's still that kind of stink to them, you know, where it's like this happened with them.
Hey, Alex, I'm not in tune, and you may have mentioned it earlier because I heard you mention Shoelace's involvement, but what is it that got him the show cause?
So the majority of it is from recruiting violations. Back with essentially what was Jim's first 4 years. The paying for
recruiting
recruits'
during
meals
COVID.
and recruiting during COVID dead period and that kind of stuff, and then not cooperating.
So is he just
Kinda-
collateral damage? So he wasn't
Essentially.
there, so they're just throwing him under.
Well, and he was kind of helping Connor, but not really. He was kind of a small cog in that whole machine. So he gets caught in that and caught in the recruiting violations, and they just said, okay, that's enough to nail it all together for 3 years.
And what was his position at the time?
He was just an offensive quality control assistant, I believe. Like, he was not high up in the school at all. I think, to my knowledge, he'd only been there like 2-3 years in the coaching staff.
So no way the offensive coordinator could have known anything about what was happening.
Oh, he could have. They likely all knew to some extent, but
Yes.
Oh, they all knew. They all
main-
knew.
Oh yeah,
Not
They
to
had
some
a scouting
extent.
advantage.
So here's the thing: they don't just go, "Oh my gosh, this guy is a wizard." When the guy gets it right over and over,
you start
why
to
the hell
wonder
is the
why.
guy getting it right?
Yeah,
But,
Right.
so it's just interesting who gets hit where and all that, because your head coach now was in a leadership position at the time
now
too.
the main thing was, they went through and recovered the text messages that he had deleted. There was that 52 message conversation or whatever. None of it had anything to do with sign stealing. It was all, that's what they deemed from reading all the messages, was that none
Still
of
a
it.
really bad look, though.
Oh, 100%. It's a terrible
And
look.
like Sharon Moore too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, they found him. You know.
Yeah. That's one thing where I was just like, even if there was nothing to do with it, why would you do that? Especially then. Was glad to figure out after the fact that it didn't relate to that. That even though like there wasn't stuff that they could kind of tie as like code words for anything, and they went even that far in depth. It was talking recruits and that kind of stuff. So
to my knowledge, Jim has never admitted or been proven to have had anything happen, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So
and he's deflecting, and he
got away.
They asked him about it the other day, and he was just like, "I'm not talking about it." Like,
yeah.
So,
exit stage right. Got out before it came down.
And I'll leave it at this, but it's just interesting that someone in leadership gets a 14-year claw or show cause, and then someone else gets to get suspended for the games that they choose. So
a big part of that is Jim for years has actively, when they were investigating the recruiting violations and all of this, he tried to sway them away. He tried to steer them away from what was actually happening. The recruiting violations, he wasn't helping the investigation along at all. He was being difficult. He wasn't answering questions. He wasn't giving them the stuff they were asking for. So a lot of this is nailing him for being difficult. Is the main thing. And I mean, like we said, they obviously knew what was going on. They were obviously involved.
Right.
So
I
they're involved, and all this added on.
I can't believe that they're trying to appeal this, and how they don't just want to, let's just get it over with and move on.
Yeah.
Because like your logo behind you and your shirt is recognized by everyone. They were the 2023 national champions. But you understand this, but outside of Ann Arbor, there is a stain on that championship.
Right.
But that was such a big championship for the NCAA, because for 20 years, Southern athletes and the spread have dominated the sport.
Oh, yeah.
And you finally had a team break through with old school football, which for years, Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State. And when Ohio State won, that was Urban Meyer taking the SEC and what he did in Utah and bringing it to it. And everyone was impressed. When you had Zeke Elliott and some of those guys, everyone was impressed. And while
but even then they only won once,
right,
during that time.
Right. They were like, they were dominant. Whereas Rich Rod tried to do it and he couldn't make that work in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
You got Alabama is a pro style, more, ground and pound team, but they have the most elite athletes at those skill positions, at quarterback, running back, wide receiver. And so that puts them over the top. The Michigan national title makes it possible for a school like Penn State to say, we can do it this year, because we just saw it done. So that's why I think that was such an important championship for college football, that it stinks that there is a stain or well, how did they win those games? Because we saw them win it on the field, but how more prepared could they have been?
So that's my thing with that one, where we had the 8-game stretch at the end, right? Where you had to go play Iowa. Like, Stallions wasn't there for Iowa. Stallions wasn't there for Ohio State. Now, those teams you'd played before, so there's probably a good chance you knew a lot of what was going on.
Right.
But then Alabama and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go play Nick Saban in the Rose Bowl, and you took him out. That's my big one, where you didn't have Stallions there to be scouting and reading all the signals and everything, and you still went out there and got the job done. So
yeah,
and
that's why I won't
last
take away
game,
what you got behind you. I won't ever not say that you're not the national champions.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the big one for me that year is Michigan State complaining. They huddled every single play, and they ran a guy in from the sideline. You can't steal any sign in that scenario, and we beat them 49-0. So, I mean, sit down, little brother. That's all I got to say about
it.
And your
still
four games were never in doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. They with or without your starting quarterback, you win all 4 by 20. But I agree with Will. I'm not taking anything away from you guys. And I also think it was more impressive, the immense pressure and scrutiny that was on the team at the time. And they still went out and did
6
it.
games that year. They went 6-0 without their head coach. Now, mind you, a couple of those games were Bowling Green and Hawaii. Yeah. But then it was also Ohio State and Penn State on the other end of it. So, I mean, that tends to balance itself out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you look at the years going up to that, I mean, one could argue that Michigan was the best team outside of Georgia. You know what I mean? We know what Michigan did leading up to their national championship run in 2023. And, and if anybody that watched those games, that team was elite from top to bottom. And they showed up and showed out, and you saw when they didn't have their coach. So this is going to be interesting. The
one other thing I want to add in there is 2021 was the first year Stallions got there, where we started to really take off and perform really well. But we also switched defensive coordinators. Don Brown was fired. We got he's the Seattle head coach right now. McDonald. Yeah. We got him as our defensive coordinator. And then we switched from him when he went back to Baltimore. We switched to Jesse Minter. So 2 of the top young coaches in the NFL now were Michigan defensive coordinators. We also had J.J. McCarthy come in that year. We had Donovan Edwards come in that year. We had Hutchinson going into his prime, Corum going into his prime. A lot of these guys that kind of all developed together that you saw in that 2023 national championship. But yes, Stallions got there when they became really good, but there was also a lot of changing parts that made them become really good as well.
Right. Absolutely. So look, hey, we know Michigan struggled a little bit last year, but with Bryce Underwood, we hope that they're back. It's going to be interesting this year. Obviously, the defending national champ is Ohio State. What happened?
He's just sitting there like, no, we don't. Like,
some of us do. Some of us do not. Yeah, I won't speak for everybody, but some of us do.